Outcast Silver Raiders is a game I didn't know existed. It is a big box game, and I picked up my copy at Gen Con 2023. This game is now available on Exalted Funeral. I'll put a link in the description below. And in this video, we're going to do an unboxing of this. So let's get into it. Welcome to Solitary RPG. So before I did this unboxing, I wanted to do some research on the game so that way I could kind of have some talking points prior to opening the box and have a little bit more to go over. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a lot of videos about this game. I did find a few videos from the creator, and there was actually a really good video with the creator and the artist, and they talked about the game and the art, which the art is fantastic, and that was pretty much all I could find. And the main takeaways I can provide on this game is that this game leans heavily into the satanic panic of the 80s with Dungeons and Dragons, just like Morkborg does and some of the other games that we've seen recently. The art has that vibe as well. It's very it's not very final art or very finished art. It's what you see kind of on the cover. I met the author at Gen Con. I explained to the author I play solo, and the one thing I walked away with after talking with him, other than the game, he said this game doesn't, combat is not something you want to do in this game. This is very story driven because combat can be brutal, which we hear a lot. Again, a lot of comparisons to Morkborg on this game. But everything I saw at the table for this game really looked cool. I was, first of all, it's a big chunky box set, which I like big box set games. I like being able to put everything in a box and put the box away. I just dig that. But there's a lot in this box. It's very heavy and it's very cool. So let me stop rambling and let's do the unboxing. First thing we'll take a look at is this red velvet bag. This came with poker chips, and this was an add-on. It wasn't needed. You could buy these separate, but this is something that can be used during the game. When I was talking to one of the people working at the booth, they mentioned, you can start pulling these tokens during gameplay to represent time passing, because there's some of them have like suns and moons and things like that on them. And if they continue rambling and they're not making decisions, you're just kind of clicking away the time. You're kind of just doing something just like GMs like to do off to the side. Sometimes GMs just roll random dice to see what happens, see how players respond to it. Well, same thing here. But you're just kind of pulling these poker chips, and they're like a heavy clay poker chip, which is nice. And they're not cheap plastic ones. And this is probably just a sticker put onto them, but they're very cool. And I picked them up because I like accessories. The only thing I didn't get for this game was the cloth map. For some reason, I didn't want it. I already had a couple others because I got Dragonbane and I did the one for Zweihander. So I passed on that. But anyways, first thing. So now let's take a look at this box set. I've been eagerly wanting to open this, but I'm trying to get through a bunch of unboxing videos from everything I bought at Gen Con. So this is kind of a occult medieval setting. It is stuck on good. All right, so again, love the box, love the art on the cover. So let me push that off to the side. So we have standees. So we're given some tokens, which is really cool. We have some cards. I don't know what the cards are quite yet. We got ready and finished. So maybe they are some sort of a activation card, being ready and finished. You got move actions, aim, drop, hold, regular move, stand up. And then you got combat actions. So yeah, so these are some probably initiative cards, which is really cool. We'll have to find that out together. Then you got these standees, and I love how they did the art for this. It's not all full body art. You got some that are just headshots. Whoops. And then you got a black and white side on them as well. So the red, these are just falling out, which is awesome. I love it when they do things right. So maybe that's the behind the backside because it's a different color, which is nice. So that way they didn't have to change the art, just print them in different colors. You got a front and a back. Very cool. So these are standees. So we've got 2 sheets of standees. These are probably more encounters, where maybe these are more in characters and encounters. I don't know. We'll find out. We got a map. So small map. This is all like A5 size, or half size of paper, 8.5 by 11. We've got a map with location numbers on it and non-location numbers on it. So obviously, maybe this is for the GM to see and knows where all the different spots are. I'm hoping all those spots are labeled and have like story behind them, because that would make this awesome for solo play. And here we just have a pretty map. So maybe this is where the players may pick where they want to go, and then the GM has the numbers to go with it. Moving in, so I got lots of maps now. So now we've got some sort of a dungeon. We got dungeon rooms. Oh, just love this art. Look at that. This very cool art. Everything about. So I'm just digging this. This is the first time I'm actually touching everything of my copy. Like, I looked at it at Gen Con, but I looked at a lot of stuff at Gen Con. The Warlock's Tower, very cool. Got a dead tree. We got towers, so we got a surrounding area. And then we've got inside the tower. So I'm assuming maybe these are the different levels of the Warlock's Tower, because I'm seeing the round pieces. So this probably is all one big adventure. I don't know. We'll find out. The Spider Kings. Sounds like a motorcycle gang. Again, very nice stuff. I like this art. Again, Morkborg, I like the art there. Some of it's a little too sketchy for me. Too much like, I don't know, just very amateur drawn. And I get it. I understand it. This is like next step for that. A little bit more advanced in some of this art. Still has some of that, kind of sketchy vibe, like these trees and stuff, but still very nice. The use of red and white. And if you watch the video, I'll put a link in it below of the author and the artist talking. Talks a lot about how they came up with the art and how the art progressed as they created more art and moved through with this project, which was very cool. So this is what we're looking at. So I got a bunch of these, like this little 8.5 by 11. They may be a little bit bigger. I think they are 8.5 by 11. Just all these different visual things that you can use. I might end up taking all of these and putting them in a notebook, because folding and unfolding these over time will cause the paper to start deteriorating right through here, and it'll affect the art. So I'll probably just put these all in a binder of some sort. It won't fit in the pretty box anymore, but that's okay. I am all right with that. I'd rather keep the art preserved, keep the image preserved. And we're getting down to the bottom. This has been a lot. There's just been a lot of these. And I didn't really notice how many of these were at the table. Of course, I didn't have, you can only lay out so much stuff at a table at Gen Con, and we got 2 more. So here is our GM screen. Again, a nice little, even went with a regular small size up and down vertical design instead of going with a landscape portrait design. That's the word I was looking for. Instead of going with a landscape design. Then we look at the back. So look at this. Just look at that art. And the artist just has a very cool way of expressing the images using different techniques. And again, watch the video. It's just very cool. I just like it. It's just very neat. And then we get the player's guide. So we got the player's guide. I haven't looked at it, but you can see here one of the things. I'm into bookbinding, as you all know, if you watch the video, a lot of the videos. But this has silver leafing on the books, and that was an immediate attraction to me. And then we get into the player's guide. read these words. So we got like background story. We got a little red bookmark, which is always nice, but it's probably going to keep popping out as I flip the pages. We got our character sheet, and just looking at our character sheet, so you got like with CHA, so it's probably charisma, score 8, mods 0, save 0. So each block has each ability or attribute has 3 different boxes in it, so we'll have to figure all of that out as we go, but looks like a pretty straightforward character sheet. Oh, look at that. So yeah, this is just neat stuff. Taking that same approach, but all original art, not art from dead people. I just love it, and it's just kind of what got me, turned on to it. And then when the author said that they leaned heavily into the satanic panic of the '80s, which I grew up with, that really got me excited to dive into this and check it out. And like combat's brutal, so you're probably going to want to avoid combat, which is cool because combat should, especially with solo play, combat is never the first option you want to jump to. You want to avoid combat. You want to come up with other ways of getting around a conflict. Combat should be your last resort. So yeah, this is a player guide, not a very thick book. The referee's compendium. So, and then I'm going to assume the last one's probably an adventure. So this is going to be your core rules and everything that you, again, using the end pages to put blocks on. I love this trend in the gaming industry of people doing this. And then we're just going to roll right into, probably more text, background, giving you all your story, letting you get to know the world, and then going into probably the rules. Look at that silver. You can really see it on this because it's a thicker book. I'm not going to do a complete flip through, but got all your character information, your druids. Let's see what our classes are, because I think the classes probably are going to be the most important classes. So barbarians, druids, monks, paladin, priest, rangers, warlock. Players pick any class on 100. And then one rogue, sorcery, warrior, barbarian, druid, monk, paladin, priest, ranger, warlock, player pick. So it looks like you could roll a dice. Like this one looks like percentage because it comes up to 93 to 100. I'm going to have to look into the rules and figure out what all that's about. So we do have elves, dwarves, gnomes, halflings, half-elves, half-orcs. So it is, even though it's medieval, it's not medieval like this, like real world medieval. It's going to be your typical fantasy stuff. And then we're going into barbarians and druids. So we got our different classes. We'll figure out how all of this works as time goes on. Paladin, priest. Again, great art. Oh, I think I skipped something, or was that just the advancements for the priest? Yeah, that was the priest advancements. The ranger, really like that art. And the warlock. Oh, look at that. Oh boy. And then we get into spells, so that's probably going to finish out the book. Yeah. Handshake and blood. So anyways, this is your referee's compendium. Then the last book we're going to have is the Mythic North. So this, we can go on a limb and say this is going to be more of a setting book with adventures in it, wilderness encounters, random names. So we have some good charts to start out with. And what is in this book? History, campaign, geography, history, beliefs. So yeah, hex crawl mechanics, factions, starting scenarios, campaign objectives, putting it all together, wilderness encounters. Look at all this wilderness encounters. So maybe this is going to be adventure and your monsters, everything you can encounter. Then we got locations. So this probably links back to the map with all those different locations and all those different maps. And then we're going to get into the contents of this book and all that silver. Just amazing. I'm almost feeling pretty sad. I'm going to keep this in a box. I think that silver leaf looks just awesome. I wish more books had leafing or edging like this. Even if they did like kept it white and it did splatters of red, kind of making it look like drops of blood on the edge, would have looked really cool. So yeah, this is going to be your setting book, and this is the biggest book, the thickest book of them all. It's over, I'm gonna have to say it's over 300 pages because I'm at 299, 307. Yeah, and these are going to be all your different floor plans. Look at all this. Again, I like the idea of leaning into that satanic panic of the 80s, because it was just so over the top, especially now when we look back at it, how D&D and RPGs have become so household. It's like everybody's, like, no one really cares, but back then it was just crazy. We had to deal with that as children, so never fun. Love this map. Like, this just gives me that very medieval look for the map and this art right here. Like, that really has that medieval look right there. Something you might see in an old text or maybe a painting of some sort. But yeah, so this is everything that it that is awesome. Again, I haven't looked at this either. This is my first flip through. So I want to dive in this a little bit more. There's not a lot out there as far as review information on this game that I could find. And again, I just went on YouTube, typed in Outcast Silver Raiders, came up with very few videos. But the one that was really cool was the video between the author and the artist. They just really shared their passion for this project and everything about it. But you can now buy this at Exalted Funeral. I'll put a link in the description below. I believe it is over $90, especially after shipping. It's probably gonna be over $100 because this box weighs a bunch. But you got 3 hardback books in there, which is awesome. Plus you got that GM screen, tons of little maps that you can use for any game system, obviously, but just tons of little maps. And then you're going to get the larger one and these little tokens or standees, which is always neat. And then you got some stands and the cards. I don't know if these are going to be available on Exalted Funeral. You'd have to take a look. These are the poker chips, and I'll have to figure out what those are. But anyways, yeah, so that was a quick look at the contents of the Outcast Silver Raiders box set, and I will be diving into this more and getting a better idea of what the game has to offer, do a couple character creations, and put it on the table, let them fight it out, kind of get an idea of how the system works, and see how things happen and take it from there. So thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.